Hey, it's Jez here from Nigezza.co.uk, and I'm here with another episode of my junk journal series. So these are now on a regular Wednesday, and so we've done the journal and we've decorated the cover. So now to make the bits to go in. So today we are going to make this little sort of envelope pocket for it, which can either be in a tuck spot, it can be a removable element, or it could be glued on three sides and become a page pocket, which is what I'm thinking I am in fact going to do. And as you can see, it's got stitching on it, and miraculously my sewing machine did seem to mend its tension. Either that or it just is working on paper. Well, this is card. So I was quite pleased. A little bit of a mess there, but yeah, I was quite pleased with how that turned out. I have got a little bit of a magnet there to close this, which are hidden underneath these butterflies and underneath that little bit of ribbon there. So let's get on. Let's move this out of the way. So what I've done is I've got a bit of cardstock. This is Stampin' Up! Whisper White, and I coffee dyed it. And I've coffee dyed it in a different way. The way I've sort of did the original papers was that I just soaked them in a baking tray that I'd put coffee in. But this I've just sprayed with a bottle. So I had some Febreze spray bottle, and I just cleaned it out, added some coffee, and then just sort of sprayed around, and then put it on a baking tray in the oven to make it, and it works really well actually. So I think is it 210 GSM, I think, something like that. So not too thick, but not too thin. So what I did was, so it's 8 1/4 wide. That's standard UK A4 cardstock, and I've cut it at 5 inches. So you can get 2 out of one sheet, and then you get this little bit at the end, which I'm sure I can do something with. That in fact goes there, as you can see. So I'm sure I'll use that. Won't be chucking it. So, and I'm using my scoreboard. You could just fold. I've seen lots of people that do junk journals, they just use their eye and fold. But I am using my scoreboard. So I scored it at 3, and then I scored it at 6 1/4. So we've got like a 2-inch fold there, and so that the flap doesn't go all the way down. So I just, using my bone folder, give it a good burnish, and so there we have quite a nice simple beginnings. There's a bit of plastic there, beginnings of our pocket, as you can see. And you can see from here that I've done some decorating. So I've done some distressing around the edge, and I've done a bit of stamping, and then I've added some book pages and things to that. So I'm going to, and then I did the stitching. So I'm going to do the distressing. So I did find my Tim Holtz antique photo stain. Can't remember if I used it on this or not, but I'm going to use crumb cake and soft suede, because that's just what I've been using, and I like it. So I'm going to bring on a bit of scrap paper here, and I've got my brushes somewhere. I could use that, but I'm just going to go around all the edges with a bit of crumb cake in a bit of a circular motion. Obviously use whatever inks you like. I know Tim Holtz is a very popular ink with lots of junk journal people, but as a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I have loads and loads of Stampin' Up! Ink. Well, I've got all the Stampin' Up! Inks, so I am using what I've got. And that's something I'm trying to do, is use up my stash. Don't really need to worry about that. That's getting glued down. It's the other side I need to do for that. Yeah, but I still keep going to charity shops. Getting a little bit addicted. Decided that actually I've got a new hobby, and that is buying stuff for junk journals. Which I'm sure a lot of you can empathise with. It's the same as crafting materials, collecting stamp sets, etc., that you never seem to have time to use. You just see them and you think, I've got to have that, and then you run out of time to use it. As a Stampin' Up demonstrator, I tend to demonstrate things that are current, and I've got gazillions of retired sets. Some I sell, but lots I'm just using, and some I'm sort of utilising in this. So I'm quite happy now, I think, with no, I haven't done the front. Got to do that bit. So yeah, so some of my sets are very shabby chicy and would lend themselves really well to junk journals. So I've using them in this, and it was kind of some of the reasons, the motivations behind buying them in the first place. And now I'm quite happy to be using them. There we go. So that's that, and then I'm just going to go around with my soft suede, because that's slightly darker, and sort of put this around the edges so we've got a nice defined edge. Don't have to do more than one colour. I just like the look. I actually, when I was making these, I actually managed to burn some of the paper. I've got a gas oven, and I managed to have some right on the bottom, and it caught light. And so it does have this. So this reminds me of the burnt edge that I have created on that sheet. So that's why I like it. I'll just go around the edge here, and I will be sewing around the edge as well. So I think that is well and truly distressed there. So now I'm going to do some inking. I'm going to do a bit of stamping rather. I'm going to stamp on that front bit, on this bit, and on this bit. I'm not going to bother with the back because I'm going to glue this to the page. If I was going to use this as a removable element, then I would of course be distressing the back as well. So I've got some stamps. This is from Prisian Beauty. Bought this with this project in mind. Love all the scripty, and I love the postmark. So those are the elements that I'm using, and I'm going to use these two colours. So I'm going to stamp this out. And I've done it before. I've done it like I'm a proper junk journaler, and I've done it by just sort of holding the stamp in my hand, but I am using it on a block this time. So there we go. I quite like this. Follow your heart and it will take you to incredible places. Quite like that. Stick that there. And there. I'm probably going to cover a lot of this up because it's I'm going to put paper and stuff on it. I just wanted to have a bit of stamping over it so that it wasn't just a plain bit of card. Now I want to do postmark. So I'm going to put these random. And then I'm going to go over the top in crumb cake. There we go. I think that's probably enough stamping. And so now I'm going to use the book pages. I'm just going to give these a bit of a clean with my chamois. So I've got book pages, I've got some music pages, and I've got some of the botanical prints from the sort of die cuts pack that I've had in my stash for like ever, to do some of the decorating for this. So let me just close these up, don't dry up first. I will be inking on them, but let me show you what I have been sort of collecting for it. So the paper pack that I've got is this one, which I've showed before when I was making it. So this is a Paper Mania one, Do Crafts, and it's dead old, and I've had it forever. And in it, there's loads and loads of die cuts. So I'm sticking with this set for this. So I'm using this decoupage sheet. On this one I used the birds on this, but on I'm going to go for the yellow roses. I thought, oh well, I'll stick to the same page and use these yellow roses. So I went through the whole pack and picked out sort of different elements that had yellow roses on it, and as yet I'm not quite sure what I'm going to do. I've got some of these postcards. I say I really like that side of it as opposed to that side, so I might use some of this on the back of some of these, maybe in some way, shape or form. And I've had this little gridded notepad which had originally got wet, and so I coffee stained that, and that would be quite nice. I did that on the back of this card here, which came from there, and I put this coffee dyed on the other side for journaling. Quite like that. So so for decorating the front, I thought it would be quite nice to have a bit of a rose. I quite like these because they're done for decoupaging. It basically saves me fussy cutting. So that would be sort of quite nice on the front, and then I could do a smaller element on the inside, and I could actually take part of that and not take it all. So I'll just get my scissors and snip that bit off, so that I could put a little bit of the rose on the inside. That should pop out. Lovely. So that's really good. I've managed to tear a bit, doesn't really matter. So yeah, we'll go for that for now. So lots of things to play with. I put music on the front of the other one, so I could change this one up and do a bit of a book page. I've got a bit of a book page there that I have in fact sort of done a bit of stamping on. That might be quite nice. Might do that. So I'm gonna take my ruler and maybe do a bit of ripping. Gonna rip slightly less straight. What I haven't found is I've got a ripping ruler, and I really do need to find that. So that can go on the front there. That's quite nice. I'm going to stick a magnet under this to stick onto here. On the other one I did it on an embellish. Well, I'm going to put it on this side actually, and on that side. I could put one of these postcards on the front with that rose on the side. I think that might look quite cool. Quite like a little bit of, I can't believe I'm just about to say quite like a little bit of lace on there, because I'm not really a lacy person, but I think that might be quite nice. Or I put some of this bit of ribbony on it. It's quite cool. Quite like to see the postcard written there. That's quite cool. So I might cut a bit of that off. Yep. So we need to do a bit of distressing. Move all this out of the way. And we'll get this aged and distressed. And it doesn't take much to do that. There's a few light white lines around this, but as soon as you've put some ink on, they've gone, and it immediately looks distressed. I will probably go over that with some soft suede as well. So I was looking for something the other day, and then I came across my Tim Holtz, going to rip that a little bit actually, my Tim Holtz inks, and it was like, oh, there they are. That's a bit better. And then we need to just do the ends of this. It is a bit bright, I think, so I'm just trying to bring it down a bit. It's got quite a pinky tinge. And then I'm going to do, I can do my ribbon. And what I might do what I did on the cover, which was I did a bit of stamping on it. not come out too well, but it is all right. So let's get some of my darker colour. So I realised when I was getting the video of the decorating the cover, that actually, because I'm just doing and enjoying myself, because this is like the day off, that they're actually quite long. So I hope people are bearing with me and enjoying it. Do let me know what you think to my junk journal series. As I'm going to be doing this anyway, because it's something I've wanted to do for a very long time. And I quite like chatting whilst I'm doing it, because it makes me feel like I'm not really doing it on my own. And then let's just make that really grubby. End up with really grubby hands, but that's okay. I don't mind that. So we're going to like piece this together. I did some stamping on that. Let's have it the right way up. Not that you can see it. That's quite straight edge. I wonder if I can put something else on that. See what I've got. I've got a doily. I wonder if I can stick that on it. So it's got something else underneath. Yeah, quite like that. I think that works. I'm a bit... There. I just found that a little bit too yellow. So there we go. Not so yellow now. There. I think I'll run with that. So let's get all that glued down. So we'll get me glue. Going to use my Collall glue. Stick them away. So when they're all glued down, I will sew around the edges. Blobs where there's solid bits. I didn't put any ink around the edges of this because the coffee time makes it quite a varied bit of colour anyway. But I might just shove a bit of ink on it. Right, and then I'm going to put this on. Now I did buy some fabric glue No idea if it's any good. Got it from Boys. So anybody watching in Yorkshire will know Boys or Boyers. So it wasn't expensive, and I thought I'm not gonna be spending lots of money on an expensive fabric, you know, for now. I mean, the collar worked actually, but there we go. Stick that on there. So, don't need that just now. These would be great when I do a Christmas one. They make quite nice mini pockets, really, wouldn't they? Because I'm used to making cards, I'd be like popping some of these up on dimensionals, but of course I don't want that in the junk journal. Right, I want to see postcard, so going off the edge here. So that's my front, and that was my front of the other one. So I've gone much darker on this one than I did that one. I think I did use Tim Holt's vintage photo on that, so you can see the difference you get in the colour between using vintage photo and using my crumb cake and soft suede. It's quite different. So that's that. So now we're just doing it on the inside. So I put a bit of lace on there, quite like that, and I put this over the top, and that's where I've got the magnets hidden. So gonna do some more paper. So this one I carried on the sort of music theme, so I might carry on me a book page. On the inside, and then I've got my little flowery bit as well on there, and I had one of the I might put that down there. Might not use that bit. I might use that. It kind of tie in a bit, and I could put a bit of ribbon across there so that you can't actually see the words. So I don't particularly want those words in it, really. And I can pop magnets underneath these bits. I actually quite like that as an image. Although it's not really going with what I'm doing. So, bit of ribbon, bit of lace, happens to be on the floor. So that was the lace that I put on the other one. So that could go underneath. that on top, and a bit of ribbon over the top. This is quite thick, but actually I think it might work. And then I could eventually put a word on there when I know what I want to do. What I could do, flag these a bit, maybe. Could really do with really sharp scissors, but I quite like that it's a bit rough. Done that the wrong way. It's now like an arrow. Yeah, that's not what you want, Jez. Oh dear. That better. So that can go along like that. That can be down there like that. I think that'll work. So I'm gonna get, there's outlines in this where tags have come out, so they've got little outlines. I might take that one. Move that onto there, and I need something else under there. What I quite like is a bit of tracing paper. Where is my tracing paper? I've got lots here of stuff, and I think there is tracing paper in here somewhere. Yeah, so maybe get a bit of that. And that can go underneath that. And what I do, can still see through it. I'll put something behind there. Oh, where's that little flower that I decided I wasn't going to use? I might put it behind there. Yeah, might do that. And then, and I'll put a little, I got 2 butterflies that I had previously done, and stick them on with magnets underneath. I might actually stick that on the outside. See what it looks like when I've done it. So we need to do some aging. I might even put a bit of doily on it, and then we can decide what we're going to put in the pocket. And so aging all this, so I might take my darker ink for the ribbon. So I'll just quickly go around the outside, and then I'm going to use crumb cake for the other. I really quite like these outlines. I think they're quite cute. I'm just thinking I might do some stamping across that tracing paper as well. Give it a little bit of cement on top of there. Just realised I forgot to do the newspaper. Literally just doing a twist. And then when I've got to stock it all in place, I will do the sewing off camera. I dug it out, it sat on my desk. I had tidied my desk, and now it's got a sewing machine on it. So I'm going to put some glue around the edges of this, and I can glue it to that tracing paper, and then cut around it. Right, so we want to stick that down on there. Quite like it, it says rampant. Haven't even looked at the words, just picked it out. It's quite straight at the top there. Didn't realise that. Wasn't taking much notice really. So I'm going to stick that down. Do hope I'm in frame. When I normally film, I have one of these grid mats, and kind of know to stay on the grid mat, and oh, that was going underneath. Quick, quick, quick. That was going underneath, I think, wasn't it? Can't remember. Putting it underneath now anyway. So a bit of this. I think that's the side I've actually aged. Yeah, it is. Let's put the glue along here. That should work. And so now I'm going to put the magnets underneath this bit of ribbon. So we won't go any further for now. Just going to trim this tracing paper. Around here. Not a fan of fussy cutting, but this bit's quite easy really. And it doesn't have to be perfect. Nothing has to be perfect in a junk journal, which is why I quite like it, which is why it's quite a bit of a day off. I quite like it. Not really any accuracy. Just doing what feels good. So that's going to go there. That's going to go there. That's going off the end there, and then we're going to have a couple of butterflies wherever it fits with the magnet. So I'm going to do the magnet first, so I kind of know where the butterflies are going. So where are my magnets? Got some little magnets here. I think I used smaller ones. So there's my magnet, slightly smaller. So I use a glue dot. The magnets are fairly cheap. I get them off Amazon, and I get them fighting with my glue dot. That's actually on my finger now. 1mm deep. I think these are 8mm. 8mm wide in diameter. And they're strong ones, that's all I can say. I can't remember, but these ones aren't actually as strong as what I normally buy. If they were my normal strength ones, I'd have put them underneath, but can't really do that with these because they're not strong enough. I remember the first time I saw people using magnets and it was like, whoa, that is like proper clever. And actually it's fairly easy to do. So I glue dot it down and then put a glue dot on the top so that that gives it extra stickiness. to whatever's going over the top of it, so that adheres down really well. And then to sort of get it in the right place, you take a magnet, stick it on top, and then stick a glue dot on top of each of these. And then you kind of see where they're going to. So I am going to stick these down first. So I'm going to go back round the edges of this. Bit of a string going on there. And then we're going to fold that down, and those glue dots should hopefully mean that those magnets are sticking up there, so we can see exactly where they've got to be, and that's where I'm going to be putting my butterflies to cover them up. So I shall use another glue dot each to hold them in place. And that's how I get my magnetic closures sorted. Normally I'd like curl the paper a bit, but as this is on the inside of an envelope, don't see the point. So that will now close it like so. So that's that bit done, and then it's just adding that last little rose bit down there. And I say I will probably add a word or something here when I'm doing my journal. That will fit whatever it is that I'm doing. I did have a little bit of a book page under there, but that was actually covering up where I'd sort of overstamped, so don't really need it. So then I need to think about what's going on the inside of this pocket. So I've got quite a lot of things so that I could journal on. So I was looking at these things. I pulled out these things to potentially go on the inside. Now these things is too big, but I could cut it down. I could put that in that way, and then that way that is the right size. That again, I could trim that down. That one hasn't got anything written on it. Got a little tag there, which again is too big. So I think what I'll do is I'll have these two, and I'll trim one down and leave the other as I think that would be quite nice as the thing that goes in the pocket, actually, once it's sort of stuck to the page. So I'm going to trim this down a little bit. I've got my little mini trimmer, so if I kind of make it the same sort of size as those two side bits, just eyeballed that. And then that will now fit down nicely. That's worked. So we've got those two bits. So then we want some room for, I want to put some journaling stuff on the back. And if I'm going to use that as a card, I want some journaling stuff on the back of that as well. And it's whether or not I want to mount that onto something. So this needs to be distressed just around the edges, because I'm going to stick some paper in the middle. I've coffee dyed lined paper as well as that grid paper. And then we need to do it along the front as well. So I've got so many pages in my journals that it's going to take me quite a while, I think. But I'm not everything's going to be as sort of detailed as this. So some things will be quicker than others. Some pockets will be quite simple. So that will save a bit of time. Because I could make that a pocket or a tuck spot, and it just needs distressing, and then it's done. I just wanted to try my hand at making something a little bit more adventurous. There we go, and then where's that grid paper? Which I showed you earlier. There it is. So I could just stick that on the back there, and I've got enough to go on the back of that one as well. So just going to rip it along there. And then just rip it up the side a bit. And down there. So say I got this book, I think I got it from school. Obviously school when I was a teacher, not school when I was a pupil. Wouldn't have needed to dye if it was school when I was a pupil, because it would have already been yellowy. So let's cut this down. Well, not cut, I just rip in. And I say it already got wet, so it was kind of ruined. So I thought, oh, let's have a little go, see if it would like work as a nice place to journal, and it does, I think. Some of my Project Life cards are grid, so that was sort of what gave me the idea. And we'll just ink up those fluffy edges. And we're good to go. not going to add anything else. I might use some of my stamps and stamp something on it when I get to the stage of journaling in it. But at the moment, that is all I want to do. Try to decide which side I like best, which is the top. That. Not that I'm in the least bit bothered. There we go. And adding paper and the collal glue, I might have that. No. Yeah, I will actually. I will have it that way. We'll give it a little bit of extra strength as well. And of course you can also put tickets and other sort of memorabilia that you've collected inside the pocket as well. It doesn't just have to be your writing. So that is the cards that will fit in there, so one that way and one that way, and they go in the envelope nicely. So I need to do a bit of, I'm going to use Tombow for the next bit of gluing. Just going to glue down this side to glue the pocket down, and then I'm going to go, oh no I'm not, I'm going to stitch it before I glue it. I want to do a stitch line along there, and then I'll glue it. So give me a sec. So I have sewn round that top edge, and I also decided to sew round that bit there. And then I thought, oh, I could sew round the postcard, and then I realised you'd see it that side. So I might save that for another idea, is sew round that first and then stick on the back, and then you would have covered it up. So now I'm just going to glue this down and then go and sew round all the edges. So a little thin bit of glue there. And then I'm going to sew all the way up there, all the way around there, all the way down there, and then I'm going to sew along there as well. I didn't sew on the bottom of this. Can't remember why not. Can't remember why not. Might try it. So I'm just going to take that then to my sewing machine and come back. So that's all the sewing done. So I did go around the bottom. So I basically started there, sewed up there, all the way down there, all the way down there, and all the way along there. And then I turned it over and I sewed along there. I actually went over this side a little bit more. I should have gone over that side. But you can just see a little bit of stitching there on the front. And then when you open it up, you can see the stitching all the way there. That butterfly has now moved a bit. That was whilst it was, just see a bit of the magnet, that's all. So there we go, that's our journaling cards in there, and that's ready to get stuck on a page. And then this could be a journaling card behind it. So where's me? Let's see if we can sort of pick a page for it to go in. I am thinking of changing this key because oh no, that went really easy. Oh well, So I've done some other little bits that I will show you. So we've got a page here that it could potentially go on, and we could stick it like so. And that could be the journaling card underneath it. And we can just stick it to a page like so. And then we've got a bit of doily, and we can do something else on that side. So that is sort of my idea of where I'm gonna put it. The other idea was to maybe have it where these have got quite a big space, and actually that matches that quite nicely, so that I might have it up a little bit on there, because it's quite a big, sort of quite chunky. It would actually fill that gap really well. So actually, yes, I think that might be what I'm going to do with that. And it was whether or not I'm going to put anything else on this background before I stick it down. If I want to put any book pages on there. So I'm not going to stick it down now, but that is what my intention is for that, and it matches there really well. And I'm going to put a word on when I'm done. So yeah, hope you enjoyed that. And I'll probably do the same with this one, is stick it on one of these pages, because the bird matches the bird there. So those are the bits for where the signatures sort of join. So yeah, so that is my envelope pocket. Hope you liked that. I will put photos and the measurements over on my blog, and you can see the difference there between using the Tim Holtz vintage photo. That's what I used there, and this one's had crumb cake and soft suede from Stampin' Up, and you can see the difference that they make. This is a bit more grungy, and I don't know which one you like best. I quite like them both, to be fair. I quite like that I've got sort of some differences to sort of play with. Okay, thank you for joining me. Do hope you're liking this series, and we're going to do some tags and some tags with pockets next time. Okay, see you again soon.